by Brad BrevetSeptember 10, 2017 update. Warner Brothers has updated their estimate for it, reporting a $123.1 million opening for the horror film, expanding on the records set and detailed in our weekend recap below. Weekend recap: with a monster $117 million opening weekend, Warner Brothers and New Lines, it has delivered a record-breaking opening, breathing a little life back into the slumping domestic box office. The film has claimed the largest September opening, largest fall opening, the largest opening for an R-rated horror film, not to mention the largest opening weekend for a horror film of any MPAA rating, and tops Open Road's new release Home Again in second place by nearly $110 million. Overall, the film accounted for more than 75% of the combined gross for the weekend's top 12, and we've only just begun. With an estimated $117 million, WB and New Lines, it, an adaptation of the acclaimed Stephen King novel, claimed the weekend's one spot with ease, besting Open Road's new release of Home Again in second place by nearly $110 million, the fifth largest gap between first and second place all-time. The film also dusted the previous opening weekend record for an R-rated horror film, more than doubling Paranormal Activity 3's previous record of $52.5 million. In fact, it is already the fifth highest-grossing R-rated horror film all-time after just 3 days in release. The horror film's debut was the widest opening ever for an R-rated film and as such delivered the second-largest opening for an R-rated movie behind Deadpool's $132.4 million opening last February. Additionally, the previous opening weekend record for September was held by Hotel Transylvania 2 with $48.5 million, and the previous fall opening weekend record was Gravity's $55.7 million, neither of which stood a chance against it and combined don't even come within $10 million. It should be mentioned that rival estimates put its opening over $120 million and some closer to $125 million. One obvious reason for the disparity has to do with Hurricane Irma hitting Florida this weekend, where approximately 175 theaters are closed. The state typically represents 5.5–6.5% of the domestic gross each weekend. It received a B cinema score, which, for comparison, is below the A the first two Conjuring films received and ahead of both Annabelle features. The audience was split nearly down the middle, playing 51% female versus 49% male, with 10% of the audience under the age of 18, of which scored the film an A. Overall, 65% of the audience was over the age of 25. Internationally, it brought in an estimated $62 million from 46 markets for a $179 million global debut. The overseas numbers include the largest opening weekend for a horror film in the UK $12.3 million, Russia $6.7 million, Australia $5.9 million, Brazil $5.6 million, Netherlands $1.4 million, and Poland $1.15 million. Upcoming releases include openings in the next key markets to open include Sweden and Mexico next week, followed by France September 20th, Argentina September 21st, Germany September 28th, and Italy October 19th. In second place is Open Road's Home Again, which brought in an estimated $9 million from 2,940 locations. The debut was just a shade ahead of Mojo's pre-weekend comparison to Bridget Jonas' Baby, which opened with $8.6 million last September. Home Again scored a B cinema score from opening day audiences. Lionsgate's The Hitman's Bodyguard finished in third with an estimated $4.85 million, down 54% from last weekend. The film's domestic cume now stands just shy of $65 million. Warner Brothers and New Line also claimed fourth place on this weekend's chart, with Annabelle Creation now in its fifth week of release. Dropping 47% this weekend, the film delivered an estimated $4 million as its domestic cume climbs to $96.2 million, soon to become the only August 2017 release to cross $100 million domestically. Rounding out the top 5 is the Weinstein Co.'s Wind River. The film dropped 49% compared to last weekend, finishing with an estimated $3.2 million for a domestic cume, topping $25 million. Elsewhere, Spider-Man: Homecoming remains in the top 10 in its 10th weekend in release, with a domestic cume that now totals $327.7 million. The film's international cume got a big bump this weekend as it opened in China with an estimated $70.8 million, pushing its international total to $495.3 million. The film's worldwide total now stands at $823 million, making it the second largest Spider-Man release all-time behind Spider-Man 3, which finished with $890.9 million globally back in 2007. Speaking of international totals, Universal and Illumination's Despicable Me 3 entered the weekend as the third 2017 release to top $1 billion worldwide. The film added another $6.2 million to that international total as its current worldwide cume reaches $1.006 billion, the third largest worldwide release of 2017. WB's Wonder Woman brought in an estimated $662,000 this weekend, and it has now crossed $410 million domestically, enough to become the fifth largest superhero release of all time, pushing Iron Man 3 to sixth with $409 million. In limited release, IFC's Rebel in the Rye opened with $44,280 from 4 theaters, $11,070. PTA China Lions 22 brought in an estimated $20,000 from 11 locations, $1,818. PTA and the Orchards Trophy opened with $3,474 in 1 theater. Next weekend will be interesting as Darren Aronofsky's thriller Mother hits approximately 2,500 theaters as both it and it hope to reside alongside one another in harmony. Lionsgate will release American Assassin in over 3,000 locations, and Open Road will debut All I See Is You. You can check out all of this weekend's estimated results right here, and we'll be updating our charts with weekend actuals on Monday afternoon. Discuss this story with fellow Box Office Mojo fans on Facebook. On Twitter, follow us at Box Office Mojo and author Brad Brevet at Brad Brevet.